Hello everyone, welcome back to Hell in the Hedgerows. I'm your host, General Jack Ripper, your faithful exterminator of communists. And so far, we have 36 minutes remaining on the clock, and we have a slight problem. Number one is my advance is now stopped up against a line of enemy wooden bunker machine guns. These are embedded in the hedgerow on the road that is my primary objective. And it seems, despite the fact that I've got several 75mm hits all along this road over here, nothing has landed close enough to actually take any of these out. So I was forced to cancel my pre-planned artillery barrage, and now I'm going to be calling in a very short linear barrage right over here. The intention is to try to take out this bunker right here and a 75mm infantry gun that is embedded in the hedgerow right here. That 75mm infantry gun is responsible for causing several casualties, including a fire team that was over here attempting to secure some German prisoners, and then the 75mm gun popped a shot right in the middle of this group and killed both the German prisoners who had surrendered to me and my own troops who were attempting to collect the prisoners. As you can see, these two guys have just finished buddy aiding that last wounded guy who was over here, and they're going to be moving on to join their friends as soon as they get back into cover. The rest of the squad is right here. So, as of right now, my heavy weapons teams are attempting to suppress or destroy these bunkers. I did have a few mortar teams stuck in behind this hedge right over here. The only problem is that they came under fire from the enemy infantry gun. One round impacted the hedge right here, didn't cause any casualties, but caused everybody to panic and run away. And as they ran away, they came under fire from both of these bunkers. So that's a slight problem, but one thing I do have in my favor is I've got a 30 caliber water-cooled set up inside this building. He's got a clear line of sight to this bunker, and he is currently suppressing him for all he's worth. As I understand it, I'm not 100% sure. No, it doesn't look like we've caused any casualties yet. I could have sworn one of these bunkers had a few casualties in it. Maybe it's one of the other ones. No, he seems just fine. I don't know. One of these bunkers, I remember I was looking at them, and one of them had some casualties. Maybe it's that one over there. I'm trying to get my 60mm mortar set up in this hedge right back here behind this building. They're going to be moving up here, facing this way, deploying weapon, and then I'm going to begin shooting again. This mortar has already fired off all of his ammunition to practically zero effect. And this mortar took a few bursts of machine gun fire, and I'm going to have them fall back, and I'll probably have to set them up somewhere else. I've also got a 30 cal water cooled who's currently doing an area fire suppression mission against the position occupied by the infantry gun. Don't know how much of an effect that's having, but short of getting a bazooka somehow in range to hit one of these bunkers, there's not much I have in the way of ability to take them out from the front. And if you also notice, there are several strands of barbed wire have popped up, which means I'm probably not going to be able to cross the river over here anyway. So I'd say the overall plan that I'm working on still seems to be intact. I do have this platoon over here. This is the second platoon of D Company. They're still moving down here towards their objective of crossing the stream and heading across the road over here. I have no idea what they're going to find on this end of the line, but we're just going to have to deal with it when we get there. These mortars right here are doing timed shoots on the position of the infantry gun. That thing is curiously resistant to my fire, because the thing is that it's positioned behind the hedgerow in such a way that this tree is directly over the top of it. So whenever my mortar rounds come in and impact in a decent enough position, they're always hitting the top of the tree, and they're too far away from the gun to cause any real casualties. I did have a couple of mortar rounds impact in the road behind it, and they killed some of the crew, but so far the gun itself is not knocked out. But it may be out of ammunition because it hasn't fired a shot for a while. So my next platoon over here, oh, actually that's part of this platoon. These guys have kind of had to slide around the corner because when I got them up against this hedgerow right here, there was no way through the hedgerow. The only way through is this gate right over here. So they're actually having to slide. Let's see. I think that's my company HQ. Who are these guys? Oh, okay, yeah, they're leftovers. Yeah, I was assaulting a German position right here. You guys would have seen that in the last video. We managed to capture the entire crew. They're all prisoners, but I did lose a few casualties coming down through this gap. This maneuver platoon is going to get up on the road right here, and we're basically just going to sit. As I said, I have absolutely no idea where I can cross the creek yet. And this maneuver platoon is moving down over here. And I think this platoon, this is second platoon of E Company, their job was supposed to be coming down through these fields over here, but honestly, with those bunker machine guns hanging out in the open, I've just got my guys hiding behind the, I got my guys hiding behind all this hedge and stuff. They're not really doing anything, they're just sitting around waiting. I'm thinking I'm going to try to get another water-cooled machine gun in the second floor of this building right here as soon as I figure out where he is. I don't remember where he is. He's around somewhere. I think he's in this hedge. Yeah, there he is. I mean, he can either stay in this hedge. The only problem is he can't spot very well from here. I don't know why. Despite the fact he's got some pretty solid contacts right there, but he can't see anything really. Who can spot this guy? I think it's just a mortar team. This mortar team that's empty can spot this guy, but honestly, it's getting a little difficult. The ability for me to further advance and especially try to get down into the end zone over here is going to be determined by my ability to take out these bunker machine guns without taking casualties or anything like that. Basically, if I run out of 60mm mortar ammo, I mean, I'm going to do my best to hit him with 60mm mortars, and I also have somebody out there is calling in 75mm. Yeah, E Company HQ. My 81mm mortars are empty. Right, they're out of contact, but they're basically empty. I was actually moving the mortar teams themselves up to join the rest of the troops. But they're empty, and all I have left is some 75 pack howitzer. I've got about 48 rounds, which might be enough. I mean, I'm doing a heavy maximum general immediate. I mean, I'm just doing the best artillery call I can, but having spotting rounds land, I did have a couple fall back here. I hope to hell that's not my own 75s, but it could be German artillery coming in, so I might have to evacuate this position as well. There's a lot of things to consider. I mean, my ability to win this scenario is currently in doubt, I would say. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to be able to make it. I'm going to push as much troops forward as I can. I'm going to try to get ensconced behind in this sunken lane over here. This seems to offer some pretty decent protection as long as I stay away from this hedge. The Germans probably shouldn't see me. I've got one team right here. They're getting ready to fast move right across this gap, and they're just going to start clearing the road down this way. And I'm just going to run teams down this road over here, straight up through here, and we're going to try to string ourselves out along the road as quick as we can, just to avoid the German artillery. Other than that, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, we cleaned out the village just fine, pushed out what seemed to be about an enemy platoon, pushed them out into the open, dealt with a couple of heavy machine gun teams. There was one over here behind this little hedge. There was one out here in the open field, which I think we still haven't gotten the machine gun itself, but I've killed pretty much everybody in the crew. I don't know if they've run for it or not. But given the contact is faded out, I doubt they're still there. And really, there's not much else to say. So we're going to keep playing. I'll continue recording the action, and we'll see what happens. Okay, bye.
specs, over. Fire protect, out.
Feuer frei! Gegenangriff! Schnell!
Ist alle okay?
Unter!
So, here we are in the after action screen. As you can see, I failed to secure a Cossaville road. The German army has secured it. However, they failed to inflict significant casualties, and they also failed the friendly casualties parameter, while my casualties are still okay and enemy casualties are acceptable. As you can see, I've got 270 men okay. I've had 14 men killed, 18 men wounded. The Germans only have 29 men okay, with 40 men killed, 21 wounded, and 5 missing. That would be from the machine gun team I captured. Honestly, this is about how we ended up. Right down here on Rue de Harmozieltes or whatever, I had several squads and a bunch of teams. They were all stretched out on this hedgerow. At the very end, I was just trying to overwhelm the bunkers with just small arms fire, mostly because that's really all I had. I've fired every single 60mm mortar round I've had. I've fired all my 81mm mortar rounds. Honestly, there are two things with this. The reason I hit the ceasefire button. Number one, from my own map analysis, the safest way up the map was actually back here in this corner. Right? You got a bit of a hedge right here. But if you can cross over here, get into this wheat field, you can head on. You can head on down here, cross the creek, get up here into the corner of the map. This kind of orchardy looking thing will give you a little bit of cover off to the left. And once you get up back into this hedgerow here, you can kind of work your way down the hedgerow. Where is it? All the way up to this gate right here. You can cut the corner, get into this gate, knock out this bunker with hand grenades, and once this bunker is down, you can pretty much, you can walk all over the rest of the map. Like, that's it. I mean, this type of a linear defensive system, if you're able to knock out a corner of it, you can break it. The only problem is, in order to get down to this side of the map, if you look at the hedge over here, there are no gaps in this hedge. All the way up until you get to this spot right here. There's no gaps except for right here. So in order to exit this gap and work your way all the way down to the other end of the map over there, and then head down the wheat field, across the creek and up and in, you need to knock out everything. I mean, look at this, right? That bunker can see you. That bunker can see you. And that bunker can see you. So really, you would have had to knock out the bunkers before you could get across the creek and unravel the defensive positions, which basically means the only way to win this scenario is to knock out the bunkers from the front, because there is literally no other approach route to go across the creek that allows you to cross anywhere and get anything without knocking out those bunkers. And as you can see, the enemy even had barbed wire strung across here just to make sure, even though I'm pretty sure this stuff right here is impassable terrain anyway. So this entire mission revolves around having to knock out the bunkers, and I was unable to do so. I think the reason for that is this mission was designed back when bunkers were a little bit more vulnerable to mortars and artillery fire. I mean, they're pretty well impregnable to anything except for like direct fire 75mm or indirect fire 105mm, and artillery of that caliber just isn't available. I mean, at the last minute, I was able to dump a bunch of 75mm pack howitzer rounds right in here. A whole bunch of them landed. They didn't really cause any casualties. The only thing they did was they finished off. They killed the last guy in the infantry gun crew and knocked out the gun. But that's it. It only killed one guy. Didn't do any damage to the bunkers. Didn't cause any casualties in the bunker. You can see there were several very near misses. And even, I think, against this guy over here, there was actually one direct hit. It landed right up on top, kind of skimmed past this tree and hit the bunker directly. And it didn't do any damage. On this side, this bunker, you'll notice, only has 2 guys left in it, and they're broken. That's because they'd taken casualties, because this 75mm round, as part of my pre-planned bombardment, landed behind the bunker and caused casualties by having blast travel through the door. But as far as that goes, none of my machine gun rounds, and I had my water-cooled machine guns set up in pretty decent spots, and they're just hosing these bunkers down the entire battle, and they didn't cause any casualties at all. Mostly because it looks to me that because these bunkers are positioned in a hedgerow square, which I'm not even sure if that's actually possible. I mean, if you buy bunkers, can you even deploy them on the side of a hedgerow like this? I don't think so. But basically what it meant was most of my rounds hit the hedgerow in front and were stopped. And then the few that traveled through, I occasionally got a penetration, but ultimately, because I think it's because my gunners were not able to observe the bunker directly, even though it says that he can see him, and I'm directly targeting him. But because of that hedge in front, I'm pretty sure it prevented my gunners from zeroing in their guns on the target and engaging it with effective fire. So, all that being said, if I'd had a single Sherman tank with me, just one, this would have gone completely the other way. Unless that 75 infantry gun managed to KO my Sherman, but honestly, That's kind of a tall order for an infantry gun. So other than that, like I said, I've hit the ceasefire button. We got a draw, no winner. Personally, I'm happy with that. Who knows? Maybe if I had tried to keep up the small arms action, I might have picked off one or two more guys. But honestly, I doubt I was going to inspire them to surrender while they still had bunkers manned and ready. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know what else to say. I'm just gonna hit end. And let's see what's next.